Hi, everyone. I think most of you know me, but I wanted to just take a second and introduce myself. My name is Jen Kelso, and I am the Director of Youth Initiatives for Special Olympics Illinois. Also on the phone with us today, we have Jillian Hostany and Melissa Garitano, who also work with our Unified Champions Schools program at. But I wanted to just take a minute and kind of introduce our speaker for today. Mac and I have worked together pretty much all year on developing some esports programming for us here in Illinois. Mac is definitely the driving force behind esports and everything that we have to offer. I have gained my wealth of knowledge, whatever that might be, from Mac. And I am just so excited that he's able to join us today and kind of give us some more depth and information on what esports is, what we're currently doing in Illinois, and how we're offering it and how you can be involved. So without further ado, Mac, I'm going to let you go ahead and just take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't let Jen sell herself short. She's quickly becoming an expert in all things esports and technology. Pretty soon she's going to have the headphones just like me, and you won't be able to tell a difference between us. But thank you, Jen. As you said, my name is Mac Dugan. I'm Assistant Director of Torch Run here at Special Olympics Illinois. So, complete opposite side of UCS. But I guess a little bit about myself before I jump into the slides today and talk about esports. I was involved in UCS since I was a high schooler, I believe. Started about 14 or 15 at Normal West, where I went to high school. And it's been a big part of my life and kind of sparked my love and passion for Special Olympics. I always like to tell this story, but the first ever time I met Jen was at a youth activation summit when I was 15, and in typical Mac Dugan 15-year-old behavior, I was not paying attention, screwing around, and from across the ballroom at the Doubletree in Bloomington, Jen yelled at me and told me to sit down and shut up. And ever since then, it's been my goal in life to just not cross Jen at all and just stay on her good side. I've done fairly well up to this point, but knock on wood, I don't screw it up. At least not today. Yeah, it's really, UCS was a big part of my life and kind of drove my passion and led me to eventually studying special education in college during my undergrad, and really ending up here working for Special Olympics. Alongside that, I've been a dweeb and a bit of a nerd my entire life, which I will proudly admit. And video games has been a big part of my life ever since I was a kid. Some of my earliest memories were watching my dad play video games, and he would give me the unplugged controller, and I would feel like I was actually doing something when I was doing absolutely nothing. I've been a part of a lot of online communities and participated in some esports competitive opportunities. Never very well, but I had fun all the time. And it's over the last few months, everything going on with COVID and not being able to be on the field with our athletes, esports has fit a nice little niche during that time. And at its inception, that's really all it was to fit a void where we weren't able to compete on the field with our athletes. So esports was that opportunity, was to compete, be a controller with Special Olympics athletes and unified partners. And since then, I think it's kind of blown our expectations out of the water and grown into something way more than what we had anticipated. We started back in May, right, Jen, with our Forza tournament. We had 4 athletes to begin with. And now we have a Discord of over almost 90 athletes and unified partners and coaches, Special Olympics staff, all involved. And each week it seems like we're gaining more athletes and unified partners, which has been a lot of fun for us. And I think, as Jen had said, she's learning a lot of neat technology stuff, but I've learned a lot as well, and I think all of our unified partners have too. So I've got a few slides to go over today with some kind of overarching stuff about esports, not just Special Olympics esports, but esports on the global scale. I think many of you may know, esports is not just a competitive opportunity. It's become this worldwide sensation where 14-year-old kids are winning $3 million to play Fortnite. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of terms and overarching technology things that I think are on the surface very hard to digest, and may be very confusing, or not at all. So I encourage all of you, if you have any questions, either type them in the chat or just interrupt me. I don't mind. But yeah, so I kind of already went over a couple of these things. Esports has really fit this void of not having our on the field opportunities for our athletes, but still providing that competitive aspect that, like all of us know, is incredibly important to our students and to our athletes. And most importantly, we want to be safe, and having an opportunity to compete online in the comfort of our homes is great. And we want to continue that, but we also want to get back on the field. So we'll talk a little bit more about in-person opportunities, both at schools and at participating esports focused businesses in your communities. These are really slow transitions. I apologize. So esports has really fit all of those challenges and responded to them. I like to start with one of our prime examples of our esports champions, Stephanie, who was one of our original 4 athletes who started competing with us back in May with a Forza tournament, which is a race car game produced by Microsoft. And they put together, in conjunction with Special Olympics International, a Forza tournament across the country with athletes competing in, I think, over 13 or 14 different states. And that was our first taste of competing in esports. I'll be honest, we didn't do as well as we thought. We were hoping to sweep the board, but I think we all learned a lot. And Stephanie is a perfect example of somebody who, out of the gate, she was very strong. She's been a gamer for most of her life as well. But one of the most important things, whether you're in a school or providing opportunities through competitive on the field or with a controller, is that development. Stephanie has been a perfect example of the development it takes in esports. We started out, we could get down the track, we could hit the ball every once in a while in Rocket League, and now Stephanie has grown into one of our best gamers that we have to offer. In our tournament just a few weeks ago, in conjunction with All Elite Wrestling, she scored 40 goals and was our overall champion, back-to-back champion, I might add, which has been really cool to see. And she has provided a lot of insight about new games that we can play and how, yes, we're providing these competitive opportunities in specific games, but there's also some really cool things that we can do with creative outlets through games like Minecraft, which coincidentally is a game that I focused on in my undergrad of using as an educational tool. If you would have asked me then if I would have ever been doing esports with Special Olympics and we would have been having Minecraft game nights, I would have called you crazy, but 2020, I guess. So just a quick definition of esports in regards to Special Olympics Illinois. So esports is organized competitive video gaming where athletes and unified partners compete and participate in a variety of multiplayer games. Competitions include unified team or single-player strategy-based or sports-focused games. Special Olympics Illinois, we're in the beginning stages of offering esports programming, and we're considering it an emerging sport at this time. So right now, all we're offering are online opportunities through online games, multiplayer games, in which we use a platform called Discord for our communication. I'll get into that a little bit further as we go. But we do hope that we'll have more future in-person tournaments, because personally, I think we'll really hit our stride with esports when we're having in-person tournaments. Even with the format that we're running currently, there's always technology issues, somebody can't get online or something, and with our in-person offerings, we'll see that, we as Special Olympics can control that and make sure that all of our athletes and unified partners are all in the same place, all at the right time. Hopefully, offset some of those technology issues that I know I'm preaching to the choir. We've all had them over the last few months. But esports on a global scale has been something that's kind of blown up over the last few years. In 2019, it was just over $1 billion, or under $1 billion in revenue. In 2020, it's slated to go well above $1 billion, 1.6 billion by 2020. So it's definitely, started to have a foothold, not just locally, but internationally, as these huge competitions are being put on for a variety of different esports games, which is cool. And I'll get into this a little bit more, but one of the main places to watch esports and other gaming content is a platform called twitch.tv. In September alone, 1.6 billion hours of esports gaming related content was watched on that platform, with nearly 100,000 active content creators on the platform, of which we are on, and I'll get to that as well. But the prize pools and the reach and the audience grows every year. I like to throw out this example, but in the bottom left of the screen, this is a picture from the Fortnite competition that took place in 2018. And I think to put some things into perspective, I think what I think about esports, I think some gamers in their basement just drinking Mountain Dew, eating Doritos. But these are some elite level athletes, honestly, that take a lot of practice and really craft their own specialty into the game. During the Fortnite tournament, over $30 million was on the table for these athletes to win. And first, second, and third were won by a 15-year-old, or a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 16-year-old, respectively. So all high school age students that are full-time students, and they play Fortnite, whether it's with their high school esports program or on their own free time. And the winner went home with $3 million. And if I had $3 million when I was 16, I would be in a very different place than I am now. So it's probably good. I was never very good at video games. But I digress. And the second picture is the Rocket League Championship Series arena. And the audience is huge for these events. And I'm hoping that, a few years we'll have just as big of an audience for Special Olympics esports competition. But we'll keep growing steadily until we get to there. And this is Jack, who the UCS is the leader as well, right, Jen? Yep, just shaking her head.
Yes,
he's played Forza. He's played with us in a variety of different games. He participated in our AEW Rocket League tournament. He is much more like me and just likes to, go forward. Doesn't matter if he's going in the right direction, just have fun. So a little bit about our vision. I touched on it a little bit, but right now we're just in our virtual stages right now, offering opportunities online and online only. As we progress and things calm down across the world with COVID and everything, we're hoping to offer more in-person opportunities, whether they be at the school or with community partners with esports for-profit businesses. I encourage you to look within your own school and see if they offer an esports club. I know at Normal West, it's an emerging club now that a lot of these students are just getting together after school and gaming in a place that is an environment for them to do so. Hopefully we can encourage you to be involved with Special Olympics and become unified partners in esports and play alongside athletes.
Hey, Mac.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if one of your athletes is already on our esports team at school, can they do this too? Or do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, more opportunities is great. I can do it in conjunction. Our esports opportunities, we do typically weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. So we try to keep it a little bit after school hours so there's enough time for school clubs and sports teams for them to go to their practices and then after, jump on with our esports opportunities and
All right,
play
cool.
some more games. One big thing I want to touch on, is I mentioned I've been part of a lot of online communities growing up, and I think we all know there's a lot of online trolls where you never know what you're gonna get with some people online, and I've been in situations where I was taken advantage of, and one thing I think about all the time with our athletes with Special Olympics esports is how do we offer an environment that they feel accepted and can be themselves and play video games with people that have the same interests and aren't made fun of for a speech impediment or not being as good at the game. And that's really what our group has become. We're not looking for top level $3 million winning Fortnite competitions. It's really, we're competitive, but at the end of the day, we're all just a group of friends that play some video games together. And there's no worse feeling than logging on after school, wanting to play a video game and not having any friends to play with. I've been there. I think many young men and women have felt that way as well, and that's kind of the role that Special Olympics esports has fit now, is that now you have an opportunity to play with a friend. You have a friend in Special Olympics esports that you can go and play Rocket League with, or play Fortnite, or just chat with through our Discord in a moderated and safe environment where we're not just the Wild West out there just playing video games. It's a controlled environment. There's also some really cool opportunities with fundraising through esports as well. We've all experienced this whole new digital platform and trying to adapt to all this new technology, but it also opens up for some really cool fundraising opportunities through your schools, through esports, through Twitch that I'll explain a little bit more in depth as we move on. Yeah. I know I've thrown out a few terms already, but I want to make sure I go through them and explain a little bit more about them. So smash.gg is the website that we've currently been utilizing for all of our registration for all of our esports events. It's a website that a lot of these big tournaments use for registration. It's relatively easy to use. There's definitely some aspects of it that just don't relate to us. But as we continue and have more in-person events, those aspects will make much more sense.
Hey, Nick, I'm gonna just jump in. We had someone sent me a note. We're gonna send out the slides and the recording to everyone after, so you do not have to feverishly jot down all the definitions to all of these words. We'll send this all out. Jillian is
I better
on
get rid of
the
the
like
test
that.
then.
So.
Did have a quiz at the end. Thank you, Jen. So Twitch, as I've said a couple times, so it's a platform for broadcasting esports, video games, and live content. Now more so than ever, there's a lot of these content creators and YouTubers that are going onto these platforms and just playing video games for an audience. On the surface level, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. You're like, why would anybody want to go watch somebody play a video game? It's a lot more than that. I encourage you to check it out. Just log on and see what's going on. It's a community. It's where you're communicating through a chat with another individual playing a game. You become part of the experience. Growing up, I ran track in high school, and I remember watching hours and hours of Olympians running the 400 meter and just watching them be like, all right, how do I do that? How do I do that? And a lot of esports athletes now are doing the same thing through Twitch. They're watching these Fortnite players. They're learning how to do these different moves and different strategies for the game. So Twitch has been a great educational tool as well as offering that endless entertainment, it seems like, for absolutely free. So a streamer and a caster, someone who broadcasts for an audience through streaming sites like Twitch. There's a bunch of others as well. There's YouTube, Facebook Gaming has something now. You can stream through Discord. You name it, it probably has a streaming thing now. Everybody's doing it. So a platform and console. So there are a few main consoles that gamers play on. The Xbox, which a new one is coming out. PlayStation 4 is out right now, and then PlayStation 5 will come out this holiday season. Personal computer, Nintendo Switch, and then your mobile phone. I'll jump ahead a little bit, but so there's a thing called cross-play and multi-platform that allows you, an Xbox player to play with a PlayStation player, or a PC with Nintendo Switch, vice versa. That has been kind of the global trend, is more towards games that can be played with anyone. Growing up, I had, you were either Xbox or you were PlayStation, and those were the two groups you could be a part of, and you either hated the other group or you had both for some reason. Now it's becoming much more inclusive, where you can play with anybody on any platform. And there are some games that aren't cross-platform yet. A lot of our sports games, so like the NFL, the Madden games, you can only play with Xbox players if you're on Xbox, PlayStation, so on and so forth. Discord is our communication application. It's a lot like Zoom or Skype, you name it. It offers text chat, video, and voice, as well as screen sharing. We have found it to be kind of our saving grace. I genuinely could not imagine trying to put any of this on for our athletes without having Discord as our main central hub for communication. And I do add there's moderation features as well. So both Jen and myself, we're on there. We see all of the messages that go through. We haven't had this situation, but if an athlete were to say something inappropriate, we could delete it and talk with that individual, see who's in the voice chat at what time, and just it's that extra level of security that's important. As I mentioned, we don't want the Wild West where people are just playing with each other at 3 a.m. Yeah. So a gamer tag, that's your username for an individual gaming platform. A lot like a Twitter handle or your Facebook name. That's kind of your identifier for a specific game and for a specific platform. Live memberships and subscriptions, that's what provides you the access to online content for like multiplayer games. This is something that pretty much every platform has now. It's an additional cost on top of the console and the game itself. And I'll dive a little bit more into the specific hard costs with those as we move on in the slides. Adaptive controllers. One really cool thing that Microsoft has been pushing over the last few years is gaming for all. Not just gamers that can use both of their hands for a standard controller, but offering a variety of different ways for athletes to use their feet or use other body parts to play games. One thing that we want to do with anything that we do with esports is limit those barriers for access and allow anyone to game with us, be part of the opportunities that we provide. And then lastly, a preloaded game or an online game, that is a game without a physical disc. And that's becoming something that is much more common, especially this year, as a lot of these new consoles that are coming out this winter are online only. They're only available for online game downloads instead of having buying the physical disc. And it's a cost-saving measure. They say it's environmental. I don't know what it is, but no more discs. As I mentioned, so we have our own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SpecialBixIllinois. This is what we stream on for all of our esports content, for all of our practices and our tournaments. This is a great way to watch your athletes play, watch your students play and practice with us. All of those videos get saved to our archive, so you can go back and watch and see the development of our athletes as they continue to play throughout the time. It's a neat tool for, again, to raise money through donations and subscriptions. I won't go too deep into subscriptions, as it's a little bit too into the weeds for what we're trying to accomplish today. Twitch is a great tool for anyone to use. It's really easy to just basically like a screen recording of a Zoom.
I'll just add that we're in the middle of our Fortnite week. And so if you guys find yourself with some free time tonight, tomorrow, or Friday, especially Friday, we are tonight and tomorrow night is practice, but Friday night is the big tournament. And every night from 6 till about 8 o'clock. Sometimes we don't make it all the way till 8. We're live, and I would encourage you to check us out.
Yeah. That's a good point too with our tournament format. So right now we're in the midst of our fall league for eSports. So it's been 3 weeks of total tournament play. We've broken it out to every other week instead of 3 consecutive weeks. So Monday through Thursday, we offer practice tournaments where some of our athletes, it's the first time they're playing the game. So they're not jumping in and just being outclassed by some of these athletes who have played quite a bit of Fortnite, for example. So Monday through Thursday, we practice, and then Fridays, the tournament for all the marbles and the medals are up for grabs. Yeah. An equipment library. So just like anything that we do with Special Olympics Illinois, we want to make sure that all of our athletes have access to play and compete in esports at no cost to them. I understand more than anybody that these gaming consoles can run up your price tag very, very high, especially as you start adding all these games that we're playing, live memberships, you name it. It gets expensive. And I think a lot of parents and teachers, your eyes start lighting up with dollar signs, and you're going, there's no way I can afford that. So that's one thing that we're really trying to build is our equipment library, more so our lending library. And having equipment here at Special Olympics that we can provide to school or to an individual athlete to rent out for a period of time and have access to play in our leagues and practice each of the games that we play. So this is all available on our eSports website, which I'll get to. You go in and you request it. The window is about 3 weeks for being rented out, kind of dependent on how long our leagues go. Since we stretched it out, it would obviously go a little bit longer, but enough time for our athletes to have it in their hands, for them to feel comfortable with it. Have fun. We do plan to keep it fresh. I mentioned that the new Xbox and the new PlayStation will be coming out this winter. The cool thing about all of these next generation consoles is that if you own an Xbox, this generation of the Xbox, you can still play with the next generation, and you're not limited by having to keep buying all of this new stuff. You can continue to play even with the older technology. I don't know when we'll start updating our consoles. I can't even get one yet, the new one, so that'll be further down the line. So the current cost of an Xbox is about $300.
Mac, we had just a quick question in regards to the lending library. We will lend them out to a school, or we'll lend them out to like an individual athlete or unified partner. And so it's just a quick form that you fill out, and Mac will review the website before we're done here, but just a quick form on the website that you fill out to complete. And then as far as what's included in it, a lot of the stuff that Mac's going to go through here as far as like costs, just for if you were to be like starting up your own, something for you to consider. But it is the actual console, which is an Xbox. And so we've just chosen Xbox as our primary platform here for Special Olympics Illinois. And so it's the Xbox, the remote control that goes with it. It will come in one of those nice traveling cases. It will already have an account set up on the actual Xbox. So they won't have to set up an account. We can walk them through actually how to set it up at their house on their first day when they get it. But they will need to have a TV or something to be able to project the screen or project the console onto, as well as they will need to have, whoever the person using it does need to have internet access. Those are the two like requirements of someone that would be utilizing our council to go or to as part of the lending library.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, having that access to a TV and internet are the two things that would be required for an athlete or a school, which might be a perfect thing for a school to rent out to control that and have it in a place where guarantee the internet on most days, I guess. Yeah, so the Xbox, the current price of that is $299. One thing that I'll add for the next generation is that Microsoft, for the next Xbox, they're moving to a subscription-based console. So instead of having to shell out the $500 for the next console, they're offering it at, I think it's $29.99 per month for the console until you pay off that full. So it's limiting the barrier a little bit for access to it instead of having to shell out big bucks for. The travel case is $60. The 12 months of the Xbox Live, which offers, now it's called Game Pass, where you get the online subscription, but you also get access to select games each month. So it offers not just the games that we would provide, but the ability to branch out and play different games that an athlete might be interested in. Xbox games, they range from about $19 to about $65. A lot of the games that we've been playing and we've been offering are free to play games. So Rocket League this summer moved to free to play, limited those barriers for our athletes to play on. We play Fortnite, which is a free to play game as well. The big costs come from the sports games. Madden, I think this year's version is $59.99. And then the biggest kind of hurdle with these sports games is that every year there's a new iteration, new rosters and all of that, the draft and all those new players. So we just got an NFL grant that we're spending money to purchase the new version of the Madden game to offer our athletes in our winter league that will be starting in mid-November. I'm thinking that's probably when we'll do it. So gaming displays, we said $250. You can get them pretty cheap, especially if you were participating in Prime Day yesterday. And then Xbox controllers are $60 extra. The pack itself for a console, it comes with a controller, the console, and all the cords necessary. So training programs. Go ahead, Jen.
Mick, before you go on, sorry, I know I hate to keep jumping in on you. In regards to the equipment, if you are a new Unified Champion School or a Unified Champion School who is looking to start doing esports, I would encourage you to look at our outreach opportunities that are currently open on the website. You could talk about your new program that you're trying to start and could ask for some potential equipment to be funded so that someone, that you could have the library piece. So that's just something to think about if you're really serious about trying to start an esports program at school.
Yeah, absolutely. So training programs is something that we're starting the process of putting together. I know as I'm talking, there's a lot of things, and how do you learn all of this or be trained on how to run an esports program? There's a lot of great YouTube tutorial videos on specific games. And we're also looking to a lot of our students and our athletes to help create a lot of this stuff. They're the ones that are ingrained in it in their everyday lives after they come home from school. And these are opportunities for them to take the lead and help train us on how to best play the games. So what we're going to move towards in the near future is having a one-stop shop on our esports website for all of those training videos, whether it be stuff that we create internally or the videos that our athletes and unified partners create. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the esports website, pop that open. So this is the hub for all of our esports opportunities. So as you see, we've got our esports fall league, banner up for our promotion of that. We've got some information about the AEW. What I will show you is the lending library form. As Jen mentioned, it's a pretty simple form. It's just your name and kind of what you're requesting. So we do bundles. It's by the bundle. So the console and a controller. And then if you need additional controllers, you can request that as well. So depending on what season we're in, so if you were to request this for our Winter League, we would provide you with a copy of the Madden game as well, so you can participate in our Madden tournament when we do that. I encourage you to check this out. esports.soill.org. Dylan, who's our website extraordinaire, has been working really hard on fleshing this out and getting some really important information on there, how to be involved, kind of learning all the tips and tricks of esports. As I mentioned in the beginning, so we use a Discord server for all of our communication purposes, both during competition and in between. Reminders to the athletes. There's ways to tag everybody so everybody gets the same notification on their phones or on their Discord app itself. We also email all of our participants and unified partners before our competitions, just to show them or outline all of the rules and regulations and the policies for each competition. But mainly we use our Discord server. If you're interested in being a part of that, feel free to reach out to Jen and I. I'll show you first thing how to mute it so you're not getting every single message. Because I'll tell you, like right now, they're practicing Fortnite right now and they're getting excited. But that's been one really cool thing for me to see is just, we provide these structured tournaments where we play from 6 to 8 p.m. But in that in-between time, they're talking with each other, they're practicing, and they're developing their skills on their own, which has been a lot of fun to experience, and my phone regrets it. But that's kind of really all I had as far as the presentation. But I would love to open up to any questions or any concerns or just general comments on esports itself or how to start it at your school. Yeah.
Mac, just a couple comments as people are, and you guys can please feel free to unmute yourself, but just because we're recording this, and I want to have this for anybody that would sign on. In regards to the number of players on a school team, right now it doesn't matter. It could be you could have one Special Olympics athlete, you could have, I do try to encourage you to have a unified pair that would sign on, because it's much easier, honestly, for us to have a unified pair that participates. In the Special Olympics world of requirements, when someone registers on Smash, we do check their paperwork. And an athlete at this point in time right now, since everything is virtual, they either need to have a valid virtual waiver, which can be done online, or a valid medical application for Special Olympics. So if this could be a great time to bring on a new athlete that's not participated with you yet, or that might be new to your school, interested in participating. So paperwork wise, that's what an athlete is required of. And then a Special Olympics unified partner does need to go through the Class A process, registration online. And again, when they register on Smash, they get communication in regards to completing that Class A. And so those are the two requirements, like paperwork wise, that we have for our athletes. An athlete or a partner can join at any point in time. And so I do encourage you, and I think Mac, you would agree, that we would like you to start in the beginning of the week on the Monday or Monday or Tuesday. It's not mandatory that you're a part of every day during our competition week and practice. However, we do encourage you to get as much practice during the week before the final competition that happens on that Friday evening, just because I know that even for myself, I've seen a significant amount of growth between starting playing on Monday and then by the time Friday hits and playing on Friday. And so it's the same way for our athletes. The more they play, just like you would do in a sport, the more you touch a ball, The more you touch the soccer ball, the better your skills are going to be. Same way with the remote. The more you touch it, the better your skills are going to be. So they can start at any point. And just because an athlete decides they want to play in our Rocket League experience does not mean they need to play in our NBA 2K or our Madden or our Fortnite. They can choose just one of the games that we are focusing on. Also in between, Mac mentioned it briefly, but when we're not in like our fall season or our summer season and what will move into our winter season, we're trying to offer once a week game nights. Those typically are on Wednesdays. They've moved every once in a while if Mac or I or someone's not available to host it on a Wednesday, but they're typically on Wednesdays for our athletes to kind of at least once a week have some interaction with each other and us to look at so many different games. Everyone's telling Mac, look at this one, check out this game, check out this game. So he spends all his time kind of looking at new games, and it's an opportunity, obviously, sometimes to even spotlight our athletes and the games that they might really enjoy and are good at. And like we had Stephanie lead us through a whole Minecraft game night and kind of tell us tips and tricks and things. And it was really awesome for our athletes and partners that participated, as well as for Stephanie to be able to be, you know, that leader. And so to kind of answer that question, can be one game, can be all the games, could be a combination of both. And then I did put a link into the chat if anybody for the outreach application and where that can be found online. You do need to be an official Unified Champion school to complete an application for the outreach application. However, Special Olympics Illinois, the board of directors and for the foundation has given Special Olympics Illinois some money as well. And we do have some outreach grants that are available to non-Unified Champion schools that potentially could be used for eSports equipment. So I think that covers everything that we had thus far in the chat. Oh, other than Xbox versus PlayStation and what we're offering here. We try to offer as many cross-platform games as possible. So when Mac talked about Rocket League and Fortnite and Minecraft, those are all cross-platform games. So it doesn't matter if you play on Xbox or Switch or PlayStation. Some of the more specific sport games, like we did NBA 2K, we offered FIFA, and then our winter will also include Madden. And so some of those more sport specific games, our primary bracket will be in Xbox because that's what we'll loan out if we have anybody that needs to be able to utilize it for the tournament. But we will do a secondary bracket in PlayStation, but those are the only two platforms that we do it on for those more sport specific games that are not cross-platform games.
Yeah, and we're willing to, you know, adapt as we go if there's more Switch players. I know the Nintendo Switch is kind of a newer platform and it's not as popular. When we first started this way back in April or March, we did a poll on social media and through our email service about what platform our athletes are most interested in. And Xbox and PlayStation were by and far the most popular. So that's kind of been where our focus is, but there's always like there's definitely a few of our athletes now that are on the Switch. So if there's interest, we'll make that work. I think the Xbox and Microsoft as a whole are really behind the idea of inclusive gaming and gaming for all. So we want to make sure that we're helping them out and walking that walk as well.
Are there any other questions or chat comments or anything that we might be able to help you with today?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure, Kath.
First off, has anybody created a flyer to send out to students to initiate interest or anything, or that you're aware of?
We haven't created like a paper format of the flyer. We have included information on eSports through all of our social media channels on Special
Okay.
Olympics Illinois, and the Special Olympics Unified Champion Schools pages, as well as we have included information about esports in our monthly newsletters out to teachers to be able to share with students. That's our, I guess right now, our main ways of being able to access students. If you think it would be beneficial, we would be happy to send out a flyer. We just didn't know that anything like that would be of use, I guess, at this point.
Okay, great. Thank you. And my second question is, how does one find out about the adaptive controllers?
So, Mac, you want to just explain the controllers?
Yeah, so that is something I can send a link out to Jen and she can share it with you as far as just more information on the controller itself. But that is, we've put some funds aside to purchase some of those as well to be included in our lending library. So if that's something you're interested in getting your hands on, we can definitely help you out with that. But just kind of conceptually, it's a larger controller with 2 main buttons and then some different adapters for foot pedals and larger like hand buttons to press. It kind of takes the typical controller, which I've got right here, and enlarges it and makes it easier for an individual to play with.
Okay, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know Mac mentioned it. Our goal is to have more in-person type events. Hopefully during state basketball, there is a eSports NBA tournament that's also happening, or maybe during flag football state tournament, there's a Madden tournament happening, or during summer games, there's a FIFA tournament happening. And so the goal is that we will get to that point where we're doing more in-person events where you may bring like a team of people to come and participate in that. But right now it is more of an individually based registration. And so that's why we're having everyone go on to Smash. And that way, as a coach, you're not necessarily required to be involved in all of the ins and outs of everything that's happening as well. We would love to have you if that's something that you are interested in, but it's not required. You can have your athletes, direct your athletes to the Smash registration, and then we can communicate directly with them that way. Anything else? Well, I want to just thank you guys all for your time. Mac, thank you for your time and for presenting today, and obviously for being such a good teacher, not just to me, but for all of us on eSports. Who would have ever thought that I would help lead a discussion on eSports programming? So we are very appreciative of you and your time and your talent. So thank you for all the extra you put into making this successful for the athletes that we all work with. So with that, everyone, you guys have a great day. And our next professional development will be on social emotional learning. And so a registration link to sign up for SEL will be coming out soon. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.